Tell me if this has ever happened to you. You're sitting across from a guy, maybe it's on a date, maybe it's just a casual hangout, and there's this electric tension in the air. He looks at you a little too long, you feel that spark. And in your head, you're thinking, wait, is he actually attracted to me? Or am I just overthinking this? And that's the maddening part, isn't it? Men don't exactly walk up to you and say, hey, by the way, I'm wildly turned on by you right now. They play it cool. They hide it. They pretend like they're just being nice or friendly. But here's the fun little secret. A man's body will always betray him. Attraction leaks out in ways he cannot control, through his eyes, his voice, his touch, his attention. And if you know what to look for, you can decode exactly what he's feeling without him ever saying a word. So tonight, I want to give you something powerful. I want to hand you the decoder ring. By the time we're done, you won't just be guessing anymore. You'll know. You'll walk into any room, sit across from any man, and instantly be able to tell Yas, he's into me. He's thinking about me in ways that are definitely not PG. Now, why does this matter? Because attraction is influence. When you know he's feeling it, you get to decide what happens next. Do you lean in? Do you pull back? Do you have a little fun with the tension? That's your choice. So buckle up, because I'm about to show you the 5 undeniable signs he is sexually attracted to you. And once you see them, you'll never unsee them again. Let's talk about the very first and juiciest sign: his eyes. You know that old saying, the eyes are the window to the soul. Well, they're also the window to his libido. Here's the truth. When a man is sexually attracted to you, his eyes cannot help themselves. He may want to play it cool. He may try to look casual, but his biology is working against him. His gaze betrays him. Now, here's where women often get stuck. You think, okay, but all men look, right? Sometimes guys are just being polite. Sometimes they're just listening. True. But there's a massive difference between a man who looks and a man who lingers. Imagine this: you're talking to a guy, telling him a story. You expect him to be listening, nodding, maybe even chiming in. But instead, you catch his eyes dipping down for just a second, maybe to your lips, maybe to your neckline, maybe down your body before darting back up again. And he does it quickly, as if he's scared you might notice. That right there is the giveaway. He wasn't just listening, he was drinking you in. And let me tell you, when a man is sexually attracted, his gaze has a very specific quality. It's heavier. It lasts a second longer than it should. It feels almost like a physical touch. Have you ever felt that? Like his eyes are literally on your skin. That's not your imagination. That's the chemistry. Now, don't confuse this with the creepy stare. You know the difference. The creepy stare feels invasive, like someone is looking at you without permission. But the lingering gaze of attraction feels exciting, playful, and electric. You don't feel violated. You feel seen, desired, wanted, and that's the difference. Here's another fun test. Next time you're talking to a guy you suspect might be attracted, pause mid-sentence and look at him. If his eyes dart quickly back up to meet yours, congratulations, he was just caught red-handed. That little micro moment of panic is his brain going, oh God, did she notice where I was looking? And ladies, let me let you in on a little secret. Men know when they're doing it. They try to control it, but when desire is strong, it leaks out. So if you see it more than once, if you catch him looking at your lips, then looking away, then coming back for another round, you can bet he's feeling it. But here's the best part: when you notice and then play with it, that's when the fun begins. Imagine catching his gaze and then deliberately holding it for just a second longer before smiling. You don't have to say a word. That tiny act tells him, I know what you're thinking. And that will drive him absolutely crazy in the best way. So let's recap this sign. If his eyes are lingering, if they keep finding their way back to you, if you feel his gaze like a touch on your skin, that's not friendship. That's not politeness. That is raw, unfiltered attraction. And here's the takeaway. Ladies, don't ignore it. Don't overthink it. Let it boost your confidence. Because when you start noticing the way men look at you, not just casually, but with that hunger, you'll realize just how much power you hold in any interaction. Let's move on to one of the juiciest giveaways of attraction: touch. Now, let's be honest. We as humans don't just go around touching everyone we meet. There's a natural bubble of personal space we keep, especially with people we don't feel connected to. So when a man consistently finds reasons, small, subtle, sneaky reasons, to break that barrier with you, that's not an accident. That's attraction at work. Think about it. You're walking through a crowded doorway and suddenly you feel a gentle hand on your lower back, guiding you through. He could have easily just followed behind you, but no, he needed that moment of contact. Or maybe you're sitting together and his knee brushes against yours and it stays there, not long enough to be obvious, but long enough for you to notice. Ladies, men are incredibly strategic when it comes to touch. They're testing the waters. He's not going to grab you and pull you in, at least not if he has any manners. But he will look for opportunities that feel natural so he can feel what it's like to have you close. Here's the key: attraction shows up in those micro touches. The ones that seem casual but aren't. Like when he playfully bumps your arm while joking, or when he leans in to whisper something and lets his hand graze yours. Each one is a little message that says, I want you closer. I want to feel you. Now, let me tell you something fascinating. Men will often disguise these touches as accidental or practical. That's because they're terrified of being rejected. So instead of putting their cards on the table, they'll frame it as, oh, I was just helping you adjust your chair. I didn't mean to bump into you. Hair, let me move that hair out of your face. Sure. Ladies, do not fall for the hoops act. If it keeps happening, it's not an accident, it's intention. Here's another fun test you can use. Next time he touches you in one of these casual ways, don't pull back. Instead, pause and hold the contact for a second longer than he expects. Watch what happens. If he's into you, you'll notice his entire body respond. He might smile nervously, his breathing might shift, or he'll quickly find another excuse to touch you again. It's like giving him permission, and trust me, his attraction will skyrocket. But let me make something crystal clear here. There's a huge difference between a man who touches you out of genuine attraction and one who's just being inappropriate. The former feels respectful, playful, almost protective. The latter feels pushy and invasive. Always trust your gut, because when it's genuine, the touch will feel exciting and safe at the same time. And here's why this matters. Physical contact is the bridge between emotional chemistry and physical intimacy. It's his way of saying, I'm not just interested in talking to you. I want to close the gap between us. So if you notice him constantly finding those excuses, his hand brushing yours when you pass something, his touch lingering on your shoulder when he laughs, his fingers lightly grazing your arm as he makes a point, pay attention. That's not randomness, that's desire. And when you notice it, you get to decide, do you lean into it and let the chemistry build, or do you pull back and set the boundary? Either way, you're in control. So remember, ladies, if he's breaking that personal space bubble again and again, if his hands are accidentally finding you more often than not, it's because he's not just attracted to your mind. He's magnetically drawn to your body too. Now, ladies, this next sign is one of my favorites because it's sneaky, it's subconscious, and it's backed by science. When a man is sexually attracted to you, one of the things he'll do without even realizing it is drop his voice lower when he talks to you. Now, why does this happen? Simple biology. Studies show that men instinctively lower their pitch around women they find attractive because a deeper voice signals strength, confidence, and yes, sexual interest. It's basically his body's way of saying, look at me, I'm masculine, I'm desirable, pick me. But here's the fun part, it's not always obvious. Sometimes it's very subtle. You'll notice that when he talks to his friends, his voice is at a normal tone, casual, relaxed. But when he turns to you, suddenly it's slower, smoother, just a little huskier, almost like he's unconsciously trying to seduce you with sound. Have you ever had that moment when a guy leans in close to talk and his voice gets so low it feels like it's vibrating in your chest? That's not just conversation, that's chemistry at work. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Men also slow their speech when they're attracted. They linger on words, they drag out syllables, almost like they're savoring the moment of speaking to you. It's not rushed, it's intentional, because in his mind, this isn't just a chat, this is foreplay. And ladies, you can test this one very easily. Next time you're in a group setting, pay attention to his voice when he addresses different people. Does it stay the same with everyone? Or does it drop an octave when he talks to you? If you catch that shift, you've just unlocked his secret. Now, let's add a little story here. Imagine you're at a bar and a guy you like is standing close. You're talking, laughing, and you notice that when he leans in to say something, his tone isn't the same as when he ordered his drink from the bartender. No. With you, it's deeper, smoother, almost like honey dripping into your ear. And you feel it, not just hear it, because his voice has weight. It stirs something in you. And that, my friends, is not an accident. But here's the kicker. Sometimes this voice change isn't about confidence, it's about vulnerability. When a man's attracted, his nervous system is lit up, his adrenaline is pumping, and in those moments, his voice naturally changes, whether he's aware of it or not. So don't assume he's rehearsed some James Bond routine. Half the time, he doesn't even realize he's doing it. And ladies, this is where you can have a little fun. If you notice him dropping his tone with you, mirror him. Lower your own voice slightly, lean in and match his pace. It creates an intimate bubble, even in a crowded room. Suddenly, it feels like it's just the two of you, even if you're surrounded by 100 people. That's powerful. So here's the takeaway. When a man's voice drops lower with you, when he slows down, when his words feel like they're being coated in velvet, that's attraction. That's him trying to pull you into his world without even realizing it. Because let's be real, men can say whatever they want, but their voice tells the truth. And when that truth sounds deeper, sexier, and just a little slower around you, you can bet he's not just talking. He's showing you in every vibration that he's turned on. Let me let you in on something men don't want you to know. Attraction doesn't always look like smooth confidence. In fact, one of the clearest signs a guy is sexually attracted to you is that he gets nervous. And I don't mean nervous like sweaty, palms can't function nervous. I mean those little tells, those cracks in his usual cool demeanor that reveal just how much you affect him. Picture this, he's normally the funny guy with his friends, quick with a joke, totally at ease. But when it's just you and him, suddenly he stumbles over his words, his timing's off, he laughs a little too much at things you say. He fidgets with his drink, taps his fingers on the table, or keeps adjusting his shirt like he's auditioning for a GQ cover. That's not him being awkward, that's him being overwhelmed by attraction. Here's the psychology behind it. When a man is attracted, his body pumps out adrenaline. That's the fight or flight chemical. His heart rate goes up. His hands might shake slightly. His mouth can even go dry. He's not about to run from danger. He's just sitting across from a woman who makes him feel things he can't control. And his body reacts like, oh my God, don't mess this up. Now, here's the funny part. Women often misread this. You might think, oh, he's not confident. He doesn't know what he's doing. But in reality, those nerves are a huge compliment. It means you've rattled him. You've shifted him out of autopilot. Because let's face it, men don't get nervous around women they're not attracted to. They get relaxed, casual, even a little bored. Nerves are excitement in disguise. And you know what? That little disruption is sexy. Think about it. A man who's usually in control suddenly fumbling his words because of you. That's power. You've literally made him forget his script. Here's a little scenario to bring it to life. You're sitting across from him at dinner. You notice he keeps knocking his fork against his plate, or he laughs and then immediately rubs the back of his neck as if to calm himself down. He might even spill a little water while pouring it for you. At first glance, it looks like clumsiness, but what it really says is your presence is so magnetic. I can't even trust my own hands right now. Now, how do you respond to this? The secret is not to call it out and embarrass him. Instead, lean into it. Smile. Make him feel safe in his nervousness, because once he realizes that you're enjoying his vulnerability, he'll relax into it, and the attraction will only deepen. And here's something even more delicious. Sometimes nervousness shows up in micro-expressions. Maybe his pupils dilate when you lean closer. Maybe he swallows hard after you touch his hand. Maybe he laughs just a little too quickly when you make a joke, as if to say, please keep talking. I don't want this moment to end. So ladies, here's your takeaway when you see those nerves, whether it's fumbling with his words, fidgeting, or blushing. Don't dismiss it as awkwardness. Recognize it for what it is. It's not weakness. It's not inexperience. It's a raw, unfiltered sign that your presence has him completely captivated. Because in the end, confidence is attractive. But you know what's even sexier? A man who's confident enough to let his guard down and be nervous around you. That kind of vulnerability isn't just cute, it's intoxicating. This last sign is my favorite because it's the one that separates mild interest from raw attraction. When a man is truly sexually attracted to you, something fascinating happens. The rest of the world disappears. His attention is laser focused on you. Now, what does that mean? Simple. In a crowded bar, when his friends are cracking jokes, the game is on TV, and the waitress walks by, he's still angled toward you. His shoulders face you. his knees point towards you and his eyes don't wander. In that moment, you are the center of his universe. And trust me, men don't give that level of attention away easily. Think about it. Men are naturally distractible. Their phones buzz, their friends shout across the room, their brain is already on to the next thing. But when he's attracted, you become the gravitational pull. It's like he can't help but orbit around you. And ladies, this attention isn't just physical, it's emotional too. He'll hang on to your words. He'll laugh a little louder at your jokes than anyone else's. He'll remember small details you said weeks ago. Because in his mind, everything you say feels important. Attraction sharpens his focus. Here's a quick test. Notice how quickly he responds when you speak. If he's mid-conversation with someone else, but instantly swivels toward you the second you chime in, that's attraction. If he remembers your favorite drink or the story you told about your childhood pet, he's not just polite, he's invested. Now, let's add some spice. Have you ever been talking to a man and realized he hasn't checked his phone once? That's rare, right? We live in a world where people can't even watch a movie without scrolling. But when a man is really drawn to you, he'll forget the phone exists because nothing on that screen could compete with what's sitting in front of him. And here's the body language giveaway. When he's focused, he'll lean in, not just with his ears, but with his entire body. His torso, his legs, his energy, they all gravitate towards you. And if someone else interrupts the conversation, he might glance at them, but within seconds, his eyes are back on you. That magnetic pull doesn't lie. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Matthew, what if he's just a good listener? What if he's just polite? Fair point. But here's how you tell the difference. Politeness is steady, balanced, and neutral. Attraction is intense. You'll feel it. You'll sense the heat in his eyes, the way he leans closer than necessary, the way he seems to hang on to silence just so he can keep looking at you. Politeness doesn't give you butterflies, attraction does. And ladies, let me give you one last tip here. If you want to test his focus, pull back. Look around the room. Take your attention elsewhere for a moment. If he shifts with you, if he tries to draw your eyes back, if he finds a way to re-engage you, that's confirmation. He's not just being social, he's hooked. So here's the big takeaway. When his attention locks on you and doesn't let go, when his energy feels like it's wrapped around you, when the rest of the room fades into background noise, that's not casual, that's desire. That's a man silently telling you right now, you are the only woman in the world I want. And honestly, ladies, isn't that the sexiest kind of attention there is? So ladies, let's bring this home. We've talked about the 5 undeniable signs, the lingering eyes, the excuses to touch you, the way his voice drops, the nervous energy, and that laser-focused attention. Now, here's the truth. Once you know these signs, you can never unsee them again. Suddenly, you'll walk into a room and instead of guessing, you'll know. Instead of wondering, does he want me? You'll smile to yourself because you already have the answer. But here's the most important part. Knowledge gives you choice. When you can spot attraction, you get to decide what happens next. Do you lean in and let the chemistry unfold? Do you slow things down and tease him a little? Or do you pull back entirely, knowing you hold the power? That's the beauty of this. You are in control. So the next time you're with him, look for those signs, play with them, enjoy them, because attraction isn't just about what he feels, it's about what you do with it. And remember, ladies, it only takes one of these signs to spark your curiosity, but when you see 3, 4, or all 5, oh, trust me, he's not just interested, he's hooked.